Hello, Railcats fans, and welcome back to the first post-game episode for the Railcats for the 2023 season. I'm your host, Kyle Savedic, and a bit of a disappointing loss, I would say, on the front of the Railcats. I mean, there's a lot to take from this game and a lot not to take from this game. First of all, to take from this game, a beautiful night for baseball. It was absolutely gorgeous. Weather was perfect. Couldn't ask for anything better. Maybe it sucks that opening day was really on a Thursday, not a Friday. I think opening day should really be on a Friday. No matter what you do, it should just start on a Friday. Just because you're going into the weekend, that good fun stuff that you got going on. People will get off work. You can bring the kids out to the ballpark. Don't have to worry about game starting on a game starting and it being super late. But we're going off of being super late. I mean, the game started at 6:48 and it ended at 9:24. So it was a 2-hour and 36-minute game, which, in a game that really the seventh inning kind of broke open a tad bit as far as a lot of walks, for the game to end in 2 hours 36 minutes is great. And I think that's what the league and everything is pushing towards, is that aspect of it. And it's going to be an adjustment period for all of the pitchers in general. I saw this comment, I think it was like This Week in Association Facebook fan page deal. A guy commented about the pitch clock and saying how he enjoyed it, but he thinks it's rushing the pitchers. Everyone's going to feel a bit rushed. Everyone's in the same boat. This doesn't take advantage to one person or over the next person. I think that was the right amount. They're trying to get that 2 hours and 30 minutes. I think around that time, we're keeping the game subpar three hours. But besides that, I mean, it was still action packed, fun night. Like I said, I wish the stadium was a little bit more filled. They had attendance just almost under 2,000 in attendance there. Kind of sucks. I wish there was a little bit more. Last year opening day, there was a lot more people because it ended up being on a Friday. So I think the league really needs to push that to help out the teams to kind of push opening days more on a Friday for most teams. And I get that you may not start your opening day necessarily at home, but maybe have a 3-game series and you have a day off where you're starting a game on a Friday versus on a Thursday, or a Friday or a Saturday. Either way you want to spin it, I think that's the best way to look at it. But so a quick bit of takeaways from the game itself. With the storyline in this series is, what is the management style going to portray, with the old Greg Taggart coming back and then Lamar Rogers' new regime? Like I said, I don't necessarily think that we can base this Winnipeg Goldeyes team right now at the start, because if we look at the Winnipeg Goldeyes lineup, right, there is only one player that I think Lamar Rogers brought in from last year's roster, and that was Javion Williams. Chris Burgess didn't play, right? You had a handful of other people. They didn't play. They didn't pitch. They didn't do nothing. Like, not there. Tommy McCarthy didn't play. No one, just looking at those players, none of them played except, I guess Tommy McCarthy did come in, but it looks like he just came as a defensive sub. He didn't have an at-bat. He might have had a walk. Whatever the case may be. No, he didn't have anything in a stat line. But I'm just saying, is this Winnipeg Goldeyes more still formed from last year's roster that did make the playoffs? Because, I mean, if you have a team that made the playoffs last year, I don't think you really want to. You're probably filling up pieces that didn't, not quite so didn't fit. But pieces that left and went somewhere else, like you're filling them pieces with players that you want. So I don't really know. It's going to be interesting to see later on in the season what it's going to look like and what we're going to see. And it's game one. I mean, even the first series, this isn't the storyline there's a storyline, but I think the storyline's with the fans. And I think outside of that, I don't think there's much of a storyline. I'm between which management style is better, or which one's going to, maybe at the end of the season we can talk about that. But everyone has their different ways of getting to a team. You can even see it now with Chicago. They were a big power heavy team, and now they've kind of became more athletic, right? And the power is still there, but it's not fully there. So like everything kind of switches in management styles and stuff like that. So I don't necessarily think that we're going to see a Greg Taggart team with the Winnipeg Goldeyes diminish to what the opening day lineup was for the Railcats last year. I don't think you're going to get that mixture between power and speed and ability to steal. And I mean, there was a couple attempts on stealing bases. I think there was maybe 2 stolen bases. I know there was 1 caught stealing later, and I think I forgot what inning it was. Excuse my mic real quick. I got my little handy dandy scorebook sheet here. It was actually in the 7th inning when Kraus got caught stealing. He was out by a mile. Like, I don't even know why he even decided to steal. Like, he was just out by a mile. But other than that, there wasn't really anything that was really movement was, I think there was a walk, full count walk, wild pitches, so there was nothing really too stealish like for Winnipeg on that side of things. Just looking at Winnipeg's stats here, Kraus, I'm probably saying it wrong, but I'm going to go Kraus. It's just easier for me to say. He went 2 for 4 with a run and 2 RBIs. He had a single in the first. Then he drove in a run in the 7th, I believe. I don't really, like I said, my book's kind of jacked up a little bit. First game back, it's kind of jacked up a little bit, and I had my parents with me, so I was kind of talking with them, and that kind of I was focused on the game, obviously, but not like in depth in like who did this and who did that. Armstrong went 1 for 5 with a run, a strikeout. Max Murphy, who went 1 for 5, which keeping the American Association Player of the Year to one hit. With 2 strikeouts on 5 at bats is pretty good. I'll get into the pitching when we get to the Railcats here. Baccali, which I thought they said broccoli, went 2 for 3 with 1 run, 1 RBI. I don't know. Then McCarthy didn't have anything. Shaps was 1 for 3 with a run and a RBI with a walk and a strikeout. Gonzalez, who was the one that hit the 2-run shot there in the 6th inning, that kind of, I think that was the deflation there in the 6th inning. That home run was kind of, I think the Railcats weren't really getting much going, but the pitching was still kind of there. I mean, the pitching had its ebbs and flows a little bit, but I think that really deflated the team on that aspect, because I think that was in the 6th, and then they had that really shoddy 7th inning. So I think that's kind of where everything kind of, if that's the turnaround, that would have been the turnaround for me in the game. Gonzalez, who went, I think I talked about him. He was the one that hit the 2-run home run. Kaskin went 0 for 3 with a walk and a strikeout. Holmes didn't do anything. Javion Williams struck out twice, 0 for 4. Martinez went 0 for 3 with a walk and 2 strikeouts. Ramirez, the starting pitcher and winning pitcher of record, went 6 innings, gave up 2 hits, no runs, 2 walks, and 3 strikeouts. Hebeck went 1 inning, 1 hit, 1 run, 1 earned, 1 strikeout. Clinchcock went 2/3 inning, 2 walks. Ames went 1 hit. He went 1 inning, 1 1/3 inning, gave up 1 hit and 2 strikeouts on that aspect of it. Now going over to the Railcat side, that the one we're really here for. I like to kind of give Winnipeg the opposing teams their due in a game, as it's well deserved. They won, and you kind of want to get familiar. It helps me get familiar with some of the faces and numbers and names and stuff like that. But on the Railcat side of it, it's just simply the offense wasn't there. It came down to, I think Edward Cuello had a really well game. Just looking at his stats, yes, he gave up 2 runs, but he pitched 5 innings. He gave up only 3 hits. He walked 3, but he struck out 5. I know in the first inning, he gave up that first hit to Kraus, kind of set the table, but then he had a 5-3 play, then he had a strikeout, then he walked, and then it was Shap that got the double that brought in Kraus. Gonzalez walked. You basically had bases loaded, but then he strikes out Kaskin to get out of that inning, really basically unscathed at that point. And then there was in the third when he gave up the double to Armstrong. Murphy flew out to right, which moved Armstrong to third, and then Buckley had the sacrifice fly that brought in Armstrong for his second run that he gave up. I don't think I have an issue with Cuello. I think he pitched very well. I just don't think there was an offense behind him. So I'm gonna keep tabs here on what the rotation looks like, but I'm gonna guess, since Cuello got the opening day start, that in the simulation games that he is potentially the ace. I don't know if we're going to classify him as the ace, because we just haven't seen what everyone else is doing, what is done, and I don't necessarily. We'll see how the rotation kind of spins itself out in these first couple weeks. Kind of go through that. On the side note to some of the releases that did happen, like I said, Lester Madden is gone. He was one that I didn't mention. Yason Medina was a questionable one. A presence in the bullpen, an older player who was a quality. So I'm not sure what happened there. We're just gonna kind of see and the way things played out here. I don't. We bring in Adi Nunez, who's new. He pitched 1 inning, gave up 3 hits, 3 runs, all earned, 1 walk and 1 strikeout. He gave up the devastating blow that, would turn the tide of the game a little bit. And not saying I'm going to blame everyone on, blame this loss solely on him. I mean, the Railcats only scored 1 run. Well, where's the offense? We can look at multiple things. I don't know if the Railcats were up, or close to be, getting on base, that kind of stuff, if giving up that home run from Nunez really would have affected anything. It's just the way the game was played that the offense wasn't there. I mean, it's not that the offense, it's a lack of like striking out and not making contact, because they were. The first inning was all ground outs. Like, they're making contact, but it's weak contact. The second inning, flyouts, a hard hit from Castillo to short. Del Valle got on, which Del Valle got the ball rolling with the Railcats for home run, 1 down. I don't think he was the one that we'd expect to get the home run, but Francisco Del Valle, there we go. And then you probably saw the little snippet at the beginning of the home run. I was going to leave the audio in there, but they had a hard time with the broadcast. I think Sioux Falls and the Railcats both had issues getting their broadcast up and running. So luckily I got the home run, but the audio was very shoddy, so I didn't want to put that in because it was just bad. So that's why there's no audio to that except the music that plays into the intro and all that good stuff. You're expecting more out of Abbott, and he strikes out. I mean, like I said, talking about Abbott, I said it multiple times over the course of last season and going to say this season. he is going to probably give you 20% home runs, 60% strikeouts, and 40% of the rest. I mean, that's what you're going to get from Sam Abbott. And I don't think there's necessarily anything wrong with that, but in situations where you got to get the team going, and I'm not saying that necessarily these strikeouts are terrible, because a lot of these times only in the 7th inning did he only have like 2 pitches. The rest of the time, it's not technically a full count, but it's close. There's at least 4 or 5 pitches that he's taking, so it's not like he's just swinging at 3 straight and going with it. It's just he's swinging for the fences the entire time. If he connects, it's going to go, but most of the time it's probably going to strike out. And if that's the way that's going to keep him on the team, then that's fine. Just know that we did release some players that may not necessarily have done that, but that's nor here nor there. I think most of the fan base likes Sam Abbott, and there's nothing wrong with, that's just sometimes that's how players are. Like I said, I think the team they only struck out 6 times, and 4 of them were Sam Abbott. The other 2 here, if I'm looking, was Woodworth and Castillo. So, like, you're hitting the ball. Like, the offense, this is a funny game about baseball. It's like, you make solid contact, and it just doesn't go anywhere. Like I said, the Railcats struck out 10 of their players, or 10 batters, and the Railcats only struck out 6 times. And that's just weird to see that kind of iteration there. But, they had 8 hits, and the Railcats only hit 4. Like, you're not going to win games by only giving up 4 hits and giving up 8 hits. Like, it's not going to happen. But the contact was there. It just, and then it drew some walks. They drew 6 walks while, or they drew only 4 walks. My bad. They only drew 4 walks. Winnipeg drew 6. Majority of those walks came there in that 7th when they loaded bases. But then, who was it that came in? Was it that 7th? Was it Valdez that came in? Yeah, Valdez came in, and he worked a really good inning. And then they brought in Santos, which he, gave up the hit by pitch, had a walk, and then walked the player again. And then Ben Miller came in, and he shut the door on that. I mean, well, I think Ryan gave up the one that was, yeah, he hit Kraus, and then that's when oh no, they didn't, my bad. Miller hit the first batter that came in, which was awarded to Valdez because he's the one that loaded the base. But after that, then he shut the door. Like, giving up the bases loaded with no outs and bringing in a pitcher, giving up 1 run in that situation is good. I think seeing from Miller and Leon came in, and he was lights out. He gave up 1 hit, but then he struck out the rest. So maybe the back end of the bullpen is going to be good. Now it's just a matter of solidifying that middle part of the bullpen, just trying to figure out who can do what. And in the situation when Nunez gave up that home run, the game was kind of broken open. So at that point, you're just kind of seeing what live arm action can do. Valdez came in, Nunez came in, Miller came in, Leon came in. Those are all newer pitchers to the Railcats organization. And to see Matt do what he did, and knowing what the Railcats gave up for him, he's going to have to step up. I think out of all the players in the organization, he would have the highest pressure, per se, just because you give up Walraven for him, and if he doesn't live up to, and then now pitching and fielding are 2 different aspects, but it's still kind of the same thing on that front of it. So let's run through the Railcats order right here. Michael Woodworth went 0 for 4 with a strikeout. Lingual went 0 for 2 with 2 walks. Mariaga went 0 for 3 with a walk. Tapia had 1 hit. Castillo had 1 hit. 1 strikeout. Francisco Del Valle, who, if we're going to put a stamp on the Railcats player of the game, would go to him for sure for having 2 hits, 3 at bats, one run, which was the home run. He didn't strike out any time, so right now he's the leading run producer. He's the leading run producer, leading hit producer, home run producer, run scored producer, and average. So he's all leveled out there at the top, except the walks and the strikeouts. He doesn't lead in. He's actually tied with walks. Or no, Lingual has walks and Abbott has most strikeouts in that aspect of it. Abbott went 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts. Paulino went 0 for 4, and Hernandez went 0 for 3. When you look at this and you see Woodworth only striking out, and Castillo striking out, and Abbott striking out, and everyone else went over, at least they're making contact with the ball, right? That is the saving grace of this whole situation. When I look at the game, and I say, what went wrong? I don't really think anything necessarily went wrong. I just don't think they had, enough solid hits to drive balls through the gaps. A lot of these, looking at the counts and everything, some of them are full, but I think they were choosing their pitches a little too early, not really feeling the game, trying to get that pitch count up. When you look at, does it give me, wish it gave me all the pitch count. I thought this one did. It doesn't look like I have that at the moment. I wonder if Game Life will show me the pitch count for, yes, okay, here we go. Nope, doesn't give me the pitch count. Darn it. I thought it would just gives me the strikeouts, the walks, and balls batted, all that, fun jazz. I guess I gotta do a better job at that, keeping actual pitch count up on it. But like I said, looking at just even at Ramirez's stuff, I mean, he had 12 pitches in an inning, 8 pitches, 14, Cuello was up, near the 20s, that kind of deal. That's going to make it a tad bit different of a team seeing more pitches versus a team that's just hitting everything. And I think that's just a learning process. I think they kind of feel a little bit of pressure. It's opening day. They want to put a show on for the fans. And they're the ones that have the pressure on them when a pig comes in. They don't care. Yeah, okay, maybe the 2 people that have some side of pressure on them are Tom Thornton and Greg Taggart or Javion Williams, because they're so used to that ballpark and that kind of stuff. Outside of that, it's just one of those games where you kind of chalk it up. You go, well, that's a tough one. You don't like to see it that way, but you're making contact. You're doing something productive. It's just not striking out, and it's just not dumb base running. It's not putting yourselves in a pickle. It's not time to hit the panic button, right? There's 99 more games left. There's no reason to hit the panic button. There is no reason to say that Lamar Rogers is a terrible manager and we should have brought Greg Taggart. That's none of the storylines should not creep into anyone's thoughts, not whatsoever, because we saw what the Railcats did last year. They went up and up and up, and they leveled out and they went down, right? I think, sometimes it's better to start a little low here and then work your way up, and find your rhythm when it comes time. It's still early. It's way too early to make any kind of judgments. I would say maybe by mid-June we can really see what this team looks like and what we're missing. Because right now, I can tell you that what is missing is what was missing last year. That was the consistent offense and the bullpen. It's the same issues, but it's still early. It's just basing it off of game 1, right? The game 1, the flaws that happened last year are the flaws that are happening right now. Not saying that Cuello went out there and dominated, but by his numbers, that's a good start, right? Only giving up 2 runs is something that's beneficial. And you went 5 innings. Would you like to see maybe going 6? But he kind of put himself in a pickle that brought Nunez in and that kind of stuff. Like I said, outside the one pitch that Nunez gave up, it would have been a different story. He was able to get out of it. Valdez put himself in a situation. Santos put himself in a different situation. Miller got them out of that situation. Giving up the one, but outside of it, there's nothing that I'm gonna look at and go, that was rough, right? It was a little rough to lose like that, but there's nothing to worry about, none whatsoever. So Saturday, we get there early. I have a feeling the ballpark's gonna be buzzing a little bit, especially with the retirement jersey, all that fun stuff that's going on there. Just getting to the ballpark and enjoying it is the thing for the fans tomorrow. Tomorrow is about one person and a fan base. That's what tomorrow's about. Going there, it's the retirement of Greg Taggart's jersey, and it's for the fans that have dedicated most of their or all of what the Railcats have done successfully. Greg Taggart has built a winning culture at the Steel Yard, and that's what fans expect, is to be winning. And yes, we are in a bit of a slump-ish the past couple years, but I think we're getting back to that. But this is what this is about. It's about saying goodbye to an old era and getting ready for a new era. This is what going into tomorrow is just being as a fan to enjoy it and reliving the past moments of the Gary South Shore Railcats franchise in general. So yeah, I think I have taken enough of your time today. I appreciate everyone that Brandon, I want to say thank you. I went to get me a deep fried baseball, and he came up and he said, thank you for doing the podcast, that we need more of this stuff in the community. That is why I'm doing this. I want people to go to the game. I want them to know the players. Quick sidebar a little bit. Yesterday was the first time that I sat in the general admission area. Typically I just got the reserve tickets and went over the left side there, but you have the fans. The prime example is there was a fans behind us that go to the games, right? But they don't really know the players. They really don't know the league. They just go to the games because that gives them something to do. And if that's what you want to do with your fandom, that's perfectly fine, right? It's your right as a fan. But my thing is that I want to be able to try to help people go to the game and see the players and know the players and be able to kind of tell their story a little bit to a certain extent, tell them what's going on and things around the league and stuff like that. So that's the idea, is to get everyone involved when they go to the ballpark, so they can have a concept of what's going on and just not, that dude looks like the dude changed. It's a different number. Who's that guy? That guy who wore number just a random, say 99. Last time I saw him, he was a tall guy. Now he's short. Like what happened? Like that kind of stuff. I want to bring. Now don't get me wrong. We're gonna have that happen. We're gonna be like, well, who's this guy? Who's this guy in the lineup? What happened? And then the transaction is gonna happen and that kind of stuff. But that's the whole goal, is to bring people into the community to understand the game, to talk about the game, to talk about the Railcats, to bring more people to the game. I mean, if I talk about it at work, I talked about, let's just, we get together, rent the party deck out, get a suite, do something, just, I want to bring people, because it is a nice ballpark. It is a nice area to, it is a nice time inside the ballpark. The Railcats do a great job of putting on a little bit of a show. Are there things that need to be kinks worked out? Yeah, but it's opening day. There's a lot of kinks that need to be worked out. I'm even working out kinks of my own, just getting back in the rhythm of doing a post game kind of thing, getting everything back in the rhythm. Like, it's gonna take a minute, right? But yeah, outside of that, I think it was a fun experience, fun opening day. Hopefully to see a lot more people out in the ballpark tomorrow, Saturday's game. But yeah, that's going to wrap it up for me. I hope you enjoyed the podcast. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter. Follow me on Facebook. Follow me on Instagram, Spotify, YouTube, all that fun stuff. There will be highlights coming out. And with the highlights, if there is something that you want to see in a highlight, or a highlight that you've seen that you want me to put together, because I want to help the players as well, I'm going to probably get a little file together, and every time something cool happens with the player or whatever the case may be, I'll put it in there. I need a bit of a help, because there's sometimes I'm going to forget things. And if there is a play that happened, it could be it could be a double play, it could be a diving catch, it could be anything that you even see, a little nuance of something. Just, private message me, send me an email. Not private message me, you can, or just tweet at me or Facebook at me, or whatever the case may be. It's just say, hey, Woodworth single, or Woodworth Lingois double play, 6th inning, 2 out or 1 out, whatever that, so I get in a base of where it's at, so I can find it and I can record it, or I can get it together, I can piece it together, and I can have highlights together. That's what I want. I want to put a little bit of highlight on. I was going to do it for this game, but the game only was like the 7th inning. And majority of the time, if there's nothing really going on, I may do like a couple highlights at the beginning of the episode, or beginning of the show, and that's about it. If there's nothing much, I'm not really going to put something together. Like I said, I only got like the 7th inning on. I was lucky to even get the home run in on that aspect of it. So yeah, I want help on that aspect of it. Get involved. This podcast isn't just for me, it's for everyone, and I want everyone to be involved in it, and me just be able to put a face to it, and put the production to it, and put it out for everyone to enjoy it. So, yep, that's going to wrap it up for me. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, rest of your evening, whenever you're watching this, and go Cats.
The 0-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Wrap this one up in green and